Hi, welcome to YouTube, brought to you by the Foreclosure Academy. I'm Coach Bill, and in this installment, we are bringing you information on how do I help someone obtain surplus funds. So first and foremost, surplus funds are created when someone experiences a foreclosure. That can be from non-paid taxes or non-paid mortgage loans. When those debts are not paid, there will be a foreclosure, which initiates the surplus. That sale must be to a third party. It cannot be back to the bank, which also will sometimes show up as the plaintiff. It has to go to a new third party, meaning a new family, possibly an investor. Once that property is sold, surplus will be created. It's important to know whether that was a mortgage or a tax foreclosure. The reason that that's important is that, let's say for example, it's a mortgage. Well, how long has this person not been paying their mortgage? Maybe they did a bankruptcy. You could have a year, you could have 2, you could have 3 years of non-paid mortgage payments. So sometimes it can appear that there are surplus funds, when in fact there are not. And then when it's relative to non-payment of taxes, the first question you would ask is, why would someone lose their home over non-payment of taxes? Seems kind of silly. In a lot of cases, that's because that person has passed away, the family couldn't keep up with it, that home is foreclosed on, and now that surplus will be eligible to be claimed by the heirs. So that is going to be a very important piece. So when we get into talking about how to help people, there's a lot of directions that this thing can go in. So let's first start with those heirs. Now, sometimes a family has more than one child. So let's say that there's 4 or 5 siblings. Well, they're each going to get a piece of that surplus divided by the number of children, unless otherwise outlined in a will. Not all the children live locally. So sometimes the courts don't have, or the trustee attorneys don't have any forwarding addresses for those children, and they simply don't know that that surplus money even exists. This is where you come in as a surplus professional. You're here to help people. They've lost their family, they've lost a family asset, and they don't have anything to show for it. You come in, let them know, based on your services, that there are money available. You are going to locate the proper property, identify and verify that there are surplus funds, then locate the clients that are eligible for those funds, explaining to them what it is that you do and how that you're going to help them. It's a great service, and it's also a great day when you're able to pay those families. It's a lot of work, because sometimes it is hard to find those people, but it's well worth it. When it comes to the mortgages, there's a lot of different reasons that this can happen. Again, sometimes someone has lost a spouse. They might have gotten a divorce. They might have gotten injured at work. No foreclosure ever comes of anything good, right? So you have to remember and keep that in mind. So anytime you're helping somebody obtain surplus funds, you're doing them a tremendous service. So when you go and you do a surplus fund search for mortgage loans, you need to verify the first mortgage, possibly a second mortgage, which could also be known as like an equity line of credit. Also that the taxes have been paid. All parties have to be paid. Sometimes the trustees and the counties and the courts, they'll post information that looks like there's surplus funds there, but all the parties have not been paid. You have to do your due diligence and verify that all parties have been paid. Once all the parties and creditors have been paid, anything left over is your surplus funds. There is typically a legal process to claiming those funds, whether be it an attorney, a trustee, or some form of clerk of courts. Your job as the professional is to navigate that legal process for your clients, making sure all liens are satisfied, all debts are satisfied, and the money is actually there. That process is not something that people are going to be experts on. People don't go through multiple foreclosures on their lifetime. It's not something they're going to be familiar with. This is where your assistance is quite critical. So you've identified the proper property, you've identified that there is some surplus funds, you know that legal process, and you've been able to track down the clients that have otherwise been kind of on the move, or they're heirs to that estate, and you're going to be able to help them out. Once that paperwork is filed with the county, there's usually going to be a few-week process. It's important that you communicate this with your clients. Let them know there is going to be a little bit of a waiting period. Update them as their case, continues to progress. Just simply communicate and be a good person with them. Once this is done and the case is satisfied and the surplus funds are available, you're then going to be dispersing those to your clients. And again, it's a great and satisfying day, both for yourself and for your client. You deliver on your promise, and they got some badly needed money. So identifying leads, again, there are going to be multiple places where you can do that. Skip tracing is kind of the process as known as finding the client. There are skip tracing platforms that you can pay for. There are skip tracing platforms that are free and available. You can Google them and search them. And that is how you're going to also find the information to locate your clients. A lot of work, simple business, but a lot of different ways to help your client obtain surplus funds. I hope this was helpful, and we'd love to see you at the Academy.